Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Make it an amazing day. It's time for another video. Have you ever heard someone say, "I'm not allowed up in my head without adult supervision"? Or maybe you heard someone say, "I don't get into my head, it's a bad neighborhood." Perhaps you had this experience. There was a conversation going on, and it was your turn to say something, I guess you could say. And then you said, "I thought," and the person said, "Oh, that's your first problem. You thought." What do you mean? You were thinking. You could call it constructive thinking. You could call it being aware of your thoughts. You could call it mindfulness. There are teachings about having an awareness about what we think, the things we think. The things we think have an impact on our life. I'm not talking about overthinking now. If you don't know you're overthinking, then I'm not sure I could help you. Those three statements I said at the beginning, I heard those a lot interacting with people in the 12-step program. I don't go up into my head without adult supervision. I don't have permission to go into my head because it's a bad neighborhood. Or your problem is thinking, you were thinking. Is there a way, I take that back, is there a remedy to change the way we think? And the answer is yes, there is. Let me briefly tell you my experience. I was introduced to spirituality in 1988 through the 12-step program because the way out of addiction is 1, abstinence, and 2, practicing spiritual principles, 3, relying on a higher power greater than ourselves, and then continued maintenance of that spiritual condition. A part of my routine every day to maintain my spiritual condition is meditation. So in the morning, I get up, I go to the bathroom, I grab a coffee and go sit on my deck for 5 or 10 minutes. I don't turn on television, I don't watch the news, I don't check social media. My Facebook account is deactivated. I don't have Twitter, I don't check Twitter, I don't check text messages. I don't start playing video games, and I don't play video games, by the way. I grab a coffee, I go sit on the deck for 5 to 10 minutes. Unencumbered by those types of distractions I described. Now, on the deck, cars will pass by. I will still hear birds. I will hear chickens and roosters in the distance, those types of things. But I'm not focused on them. When you sit in silence like that, if you decide to start practicing that meditation / mindfulness, at first your thoughts will flow all over the place. I equate that to a small river or a creek that's flowing with water. Except when you're sitting there, it's not water, your thoughts are flowing, okay? Just let them flow. You can't shut your thoughts off. When it comes to your mind, like a car, an automatic, has a gas pedal and a brake, your thought processes are they're both gas pedals. Boom, boom. So I just let my thoughts flow like a river, small creek. They don't flow as long as they used to. I've been practicing this for decades. So you let your thoughts just flow, let them run, let them run. You want them to run away anyway, most of them, because at some point, like at some points in a river or a creek, you will find still water, or your thoughts will slow down a lot. When that happens, I say that's when I start to collect my thoughts. What am I going to do today? What do I have planned? What is necessary to be done? And I think about that. I also consider what is a priority. Which one of those tasks that have to be done is a priority? I also consider if the involvement is physical, when do I have the most energy? That task that is a physical task, I need to do that when I have the most energy. For me, it's in the morning. Then I go in the house. I have a routine because to get moving physically, there are things I need to do. I'm a disabled veteran. If I don't do them, I'm not moving. Some exercises, ice packing my lower back, putting a infrared heat pad on my upper back, some stretches. I get my dog, we go and get into the van, and then we come down here to the sacred grove. And I meditate more. Here's a question. What is the value of going into nature, the woods or the mountains, first thing in your day, and just sit there? The value is you're not looking at a television, you're not looking at a phone with thousands of bright lights, vibration sounds, beeps and noises. You're not looking at people's faces on television or your phone. What you do in nature is you disengage. You disengage your sensory senses. You disengage your senses. Looking at trees, listening to a creek. There might be a action reaction to that. For me, it's not bad. It's calming, it's soothing. And my senses during this period aren't overloaded. They're not overloaded. They're not activated to the nth degree. Let me give you an example. It's 2024. Let's just say 1800s. In the 1800s, the two most exciting things that happened to people probably were to see the sunrise if you're up that early and watch a sunset. You might interact with your family, taking care of the farm or the ranch, but that's a routine that you're used to. You've grooved that routine. Today, it's a whole different ball game. We are bombarded with sights, sounds, information, flashing lights, beeps, more flashing lights. The mind wasn't designed to take that all in. Here's another fact you may not have realized that happens to us as we go about our day. So you're done watching your television, you're done on YouTube or whatever it is you do in the morning, Facebook. You've been bombarded by all of that. Seen a lot of faces. Sad, happy, mad, angry, depending on what videos you watch. And you go out and start your day. You might stop at a gas station, go inside to get something. You may go to a store. You go into the store, and there are all kind of faces, all kind of people. You may not know it consciously, but when two people look at each other, there's an interaction. There's an interaction. Again, it may not always be a happy person. It could be happy, it could be sad. You could see an angry person. You see all these faces. When you compare that to the example I gave of the 1800s, a more simple life on the farm or the ranch, the faces were those of your family. You might have gone into town once in a while for supplies, but today we're bombarded with faces, bombarded. Some of it we do by choice, watching those videos. I'm not talking about motivational videos, spiritual videos, although those creators do put some content in there to give you an example of what they're talking about. What's my point? My point is down here at this sacred grove, or if you're anywhere in nature, in the mountains, in the woods, you're detaching your senses. You're giving your senses a break. You're detaching from sensory perception. You're giving your senses a break. Except for those cars passing by over there behind the trees, everything here is natural. Natural sounds, sights and sounds. The last thing I want to mention about practicing meditation as part of my spiritual journey, I started to question long-held belief systems. I would hear things, I would hear people say things, and discernment, intuition would kick in, and I would think to myself, there's something not right about that. Here's an example. At 12-step meetings, the 12-step has in it sought through prayer and meditation as the beginning of that step. You realize how many people would say, well, I don't meditate. I do all the steps, but I don't meditate. You need to give your senses a break. You really do. Develop a routine of meditating. Developing a routine of meditation develops discipline. Doing meditation and mindfulness develops patience. Well, I can't do that, Johan. There's so much going on in my head. What are you talking about? Well, this happened, that happened yesterday, and that just reminded me of something that happened 6 months ago, and I'm still mad about this from 10 years ago, and I'm still freaked out by something that happened to me when I was 7, and things like this. You don't have to be in recovery from alcohol or drugs to look at those 12 steps of the 12-step program. Google them. Google 12 steps of the 12-step program and read them. The point I'm making is, today I'm pretty much all caught up. I'm well aware of my character defects and shortcomings, the ones that are left. I've learned through a fearless moral inventory that a lot of times I did things and put myself in a position to be hurt. I've learned that other people like me, like I used to be, are spiritually sick. I made that list of amends and became willing to make amends to them all, and I made those amends face to face whenever possible. Don't just go out and start making amends now. Sometimes you are better off not to make an amends to certain people because it'll only start more trouble, or perhaps the harm you did to them is something that is not easily forgotten. And if they're spiritually sick and they don't have a spiritual path, you might start a battle you wish you didn't start. Seek out a spiritual person, like-minded. I don't go to the 12-step group meetings anymore because too many things are said that have no spiritual foundation. You need to find someone that you can talk to or listen to, someone's teachings that you like, apply them to your life, see what works. So you don't have to be an alcoholic or a drug addict to look at those 12 steps. Those 12 steps were derived from religion, from spiritual principles, and the medical society. Various religions, various spiritual paths and spiritual ways. The reason you can't calm down, the reason you're saying, oh, Johan, I can't do that, my mind, and this happened and that happened is, one, you have things that are unresolved that you need to resolve. And two, you haven't taken the steps to make peace with the world. Make it an amazing day. Make it. It's your choice what kind of life you're going to have. What kind of day you're going to have, I should say. It's your decision what kind of day you're going to have. Make it an amazing life as well. It's your choice what kind of life you're going to have. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my teachings. I ask you to consider subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing my videos. Make it an amazing day and make it an amazing life. It's your choice, it's your decision. So have a good one. See you in the next video.